Hi, I'm martial arts master Bill Fitzpatrick, welcoming you to lesson number 7 of the Master Real Estate course. If you're doing the work of this course, day by day, week by week, your knowledge of your small specific investment area continues to grow. You can now hold intelligent conversations with investors and builders and contractors and the government officials in your area. You know property. That's good. You know the people in charge. That's good. You've identified the movers and the shakers in real estate in your small specific investment area. That's good. You've identified the super agents in your area. That's good. The more work you do on this course, that means actually driving your area, assembling your mastermind alliance, talking to investors and super agents, the more you will be rewarded later. Now, talking and researching they are going to keep you motivated to finding good deals and making offers. You have to discipline yourself. Have a plan to learn, and then stick to that plan. Keep learning. What about your action principles? Are you taking your 20 minutes of quiet time every day to think, where have I been? Where am I now? Where am I going? Look at this new direction in my life. How exciting. Are you driving around different parts of your investment area, looking for changes? Changes that could make you money or could help you avoid trouble. Are you talking to your super agent? Are you tracking all of the sales in your area? Are you going to almost all of the open houses? Are you reading and talking real estate? Keep in mind that goal. That goal that's going to make you a family dynasty of wealth. That's an important goal. Yes, 6 properties, pay off the debt, retire early. Again, generation by generation, a family dynasty of wealth. It doesn't just happen. You must discipline yourself to spend an hour a day on learning and researching and making offers. Think about what I'm asking you to do and what the reward is. Okay, let's move on. A listing sheet is a property information sheet used by real estate agents. Now, your run-of-the-mill, average, ordinary real estate agent feels compelled to guard these sheets, to guard this information with their lives. Why? Because very often the information on that listing sheet is all that really separates you from these average, ordinary agents. By contrast, by definition, a real estate super agent isn't afraid to share that information with you. A super agent wants to deal with a knowledgeable consumer. You've done your thinking, your research, you know the type of properties you want. Now, if you're starting out, if you don't own any real estate, your first purchase will probably be a single-family house, a condo, or a small multifamily that you'll live in yourself. As you know, my first property was a 3-family house. If you can think multifamily, well, I think that's a good first buying decision. The obvious advantage to owning and living in a multifamily house is that you will have rental income which will support your debt service, your mortgage. If you're somebody who happens to be handy, good with tools, well, then you might consider buying a property that needs cosmetic upgrading. If you're a more conservative person or you happen to be somebody who really doesn't have a lot of time, or when we talk about a lot of time, it's really only an hour a week, then you're probably going to look for newer properties where all of the work has already been done. You don't have to rush into making an investment decision. You can take 4 to 6 months to complete your research. Work at your own pace, on your own schedule. Let that confidence build. As you're talking to others, you say, geez, I'm really, the expert here. Because believe me, the deals will always be there. Now, you don't need your agent all the time to get in the car with you and drive around looking at properties. You can do a lot of that work yourself, taking notes with your drive-bys. You're taking notes, taking pictures. Then you have a good basis for discussing properties with your agent and your mastermind alliance. What do you think about this? Should I buy it? What, if I bought it, what would I do with it? I mean, is it a property I'm buying to selling, or am I going to buy it and fix it up and rent it? If I can rent it, what am I going to rent it for? When you're in there and you're talking, you see your super agent is going to understand that if you're beginning, you may not be ready immediately to buy a property. He or she will understand that you're in an educational process. If for any reason at any time you feel pressured by a real estate agent, I can tell you right now, you're dealing with the wrong agent. Fire him or her. There are going to be other agents. The exact number of properties you look at before getting serious is going to depend on your confidence level, on your experience. As a first-time buyer, you'd probably want to reserve maybe 2 months or so to research and looking at properties. You could go out there and love the first property you see. You might have to wait to love the 20th property or the 50th property that you see. You know, yes, no, you're taking the time, you're thinking, so you know yourself, you know your finance, you know your options, you know your down payment situation. So it's you who has to decide when the time is right for you to go to the next stage, which is offer, and then negotiating, and then financing. You're driving around and you're always alert and aware for opportunities. Opportunities that could be an abandoned property, a vacant property. Again, if you're handy or if you're going to flip, okay, that's what you're looking for. If I can buy this, who can I sell it to? And you're talking to other agents and other investors in the area, and you know the kinds of things that they're looking for. So it's you who else is doing this? You're the one who's driving around and you're looking. Oh, well, there's overgrown landscaping. There's peeling paint. There's trash. There's broken windows, junk cars, graffiti. What is this telling you? What are you learning? You do your research. In one of the earlier lessons, you have an idea of what building codes are, health codes are, safety codes are, and you can look for, violations. Hey, there's big problems here. But in those big problems, maybe there are opportunities, maybe not. Maybe this is oh my goodness, I have to avoid this. Yes, you can be bold and make an unsolicited offer to any property owner with or without your agent. If you see a property and you see an owner and you can start talking, yeah, you can do that. You can involve your agent if you want, or you can go right to, the paperwork, call up your Mastermind Alliance lawyer. In the Master Small Business course, we talked about the super agent as a salesperson. What do the best salespeople know? Well, they know that some will, some won't, so what next? Some will, yeah, some are going to buy, some won't buy. Hey, move on. Now, it's the same with the offers that you're going to make in real estate. Donald Trump in New York, Steve Wynn in Las Vegas, they're great real estate investors. And you know what they know? They know that some will, some won't, so what next? You've got to ask. You've got to make the offer if you're going to be in the game. Not thinking, well, they're not going to accept it, they're not going to do that. How do you know? You've got to ask, you have to talk. Now, how much does it cost to make a real estate offer? Zero, zilch, nothing? Think about that. What are you risking? Zero, zilch, nothing? In the beginning of my real estate career, I actually started as a home reinvestor. The home reinvestment method is based on the simple business premise that you try to buy low and sell high. This type of real estate investing is usually most popular with single men, single women, couples without children. Not always, but usually. This method presupposes an ability to judge property values and a willingness to move on short notice. Well, will you move on short notice? Because you are going to be the expert on property values. Reinvestors put their personal housing preferences aside. In the first 5 years of my marriage, I bought and sold and lived in 4 different houses. Now, I'm happy where I live. I've lived in the same house for over 30 years. So, as a home reinvestor, you really aren't looking for your ultimate dream house. Instead, you're looking for a house that is listed or can be negotiated to an excellent price. For example, there are always people who have to sell their property for whatever reason, a transferred executive who wishes to sell his house quickly. Let's say that this owner may be not ready, willing, or able to go through the regular selling process. No, they want that house sold quickly. The house might bring, if it was in the regular marketing process, $280,000, $290,000. However, this executive and his family has to move and buy a new house. So in exchange for a quick sale, he's willing to sell the house for, well, you tell me, $260,000, $240,000, $230,000, maybe less. How do you know how cheaply you may be able to acquire the house unless you do what? Right, unless you make an offer. How much does it cost to make an offer that could make you tens of thousands of dollars? Answer the question. Well, of course, we just said it. You already know. How much does it cost to make a real estate offer? Zero, zilch, nothing. Why are most average people afraid to make low offers that would make them money? Because they're afraid of ridicule from their real estate agent? Because they're afraid of rejection from the seller? All the seller has to say is, no, I'm not selling the house for that. Or, yeah, okay, I'm going to make a counteroffer and we're going to do something. If you're in the real estate business as an investor and you're buying and selling properties in order to get your 6, and then maybe you keep doing this to pay off the mortgages on your 6, you've got to be able to make offers. And when you make offers, you have to be willing to expect rejection. Expect rejection. If your first offers are being accepted all the time, your offers are too high. All right, in our example, the reinvestor buys the house for $260,000 and moves in. Now, the reinvestor, who has the time and the luxury to wait, places the house back on the market for, again, you tell what, $310,000. When the house sells for $310,000, and well, you only need one buyer, that could be in 2 months or it could be in 2 years. The reinvestor realizes his or her profit and then goes on and looks for the next property. There are people who make a business out of this. Some home reinvestors will buy and sell 2 properties a year. Each time they do this, they will try to, well, each time they do this, that one property will be their principal residence. But the reinvestor attempts to buy properties that are slightly more expensive each time, thereby avoiding any capital gains tax. There was a little girl named Nancy Corrigan who I went to elementary school with. I walked to school. Her father drove her every day in a very nice car. He wore a suit. He drove a Lincoln. Guy always seemed to be around. He never seemed to have a job or to work. Vacation time, Nancy's family would always be going skiing in the spring and to the beaches in the winter. Of course, as a kid, I didn't know how rich people got to be rich. You were either rich or you weren't rich. As a teenager, I figured that this guy Corrigan, he's either got to be some kind of a drug dealer or he had inherited all this money. The one very, very suspicious thing about this family is that they were always moving around town. Years later, as a real estate agent, I learned the Corrigan Secret. Mr. Corrigan bought houses and Mrs. Corrigan decorated them. That was it. The Corrigan family would buy a house decorated, put the house immediately back on the market. When the house sold, they bought another house. Apparently, this was how these rich people actually got to be rich. Are you some kind of an average person who thinks, fantasy, Bill, this thing never happens? Or are you a master of success, trying to figure out how this happens and saying, hey, why not me? I can copy success. What others have done, I can do. Yeah, I can do it. So, okay, I agree. Let's go out and let's do it.